Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so as I'm continuing to find fear for the Denver Nuggets, I fail once again. I'm listening to Trevor Lane talk about the Denver Nuggets and his concerns about the Denver Nuggets, and I think he's done a healthy job of setting us up to be ready for that team, man. I definitely enjoyed watching him talk about it, and encourage everybody to check out his content. Uh, as for myself, I just am having a hard time with fearing the Denver Nuggets because I'm all too aware. It's in the front of my mind of who they just played. Who they just played, man. The Minnesota Timberwolves and the Phoenix Suns. Both of which are not very good right now. Now, the Phoenix Suns, they're depleted because they made a trade for KD, and they're in between finding the pieces that'll properly align next to those guys. As I told you guys, the Phoenix Suns are a team that's set to build going forward. All those guys that they got, they're on contract for multiple years. So, as Devin Booker said, 36 ain't bothered because they know they're coming back next year. They're going to retool. They're going to get rid of bad contracts. They're going to get some. They're going to do a whole thing, and the only thing they should be left with next season is Booker and KD. And if they do that, if they do it correctly, they'll be a contender next year. Watch. So don't even think twice about them. They weren't built to succeed yet. With that being said, Minnesota, as I've already mentioned earlier, they were missing Naz Reid halfway through the season. He went down with the wrist injury. I think he made a massive difference to what it is they could bring to the table talent-wise. He's a significant piece of their bench, could rebound the ball, give them significant scoring, stretch the floor, huge body. That piece missing was significant in regards to what they were dealing with. And then from there, they lost McDaniels, the best defender on their team, one of the best defenders in the Western Conference this season. Who would have made a significant difference to what Denver went up against defensively in regards to simulating proper defensive pressure that's going to be coming at you when considering the LA Lakers and what you're going to have to deal with in regards to us defensively. So I look at the Denver Nuggets as a team that has not been tested. I look at the Denver Nuggets as a team whose offensive stats are not going to reflect anything that should be relied upon going forward because you're going up against the number one defense in the Western Conference in the league since the postseason. Now, what do you have to take into account when it's considering that statement? It's who the Lakers played. Two of the best offenses in the league. And we walked away being the number one defense in the league after playing the two best offenses arguably in the league. Memphis, even though they were bricking a lot of shots, I could argue it's because we were playing a great defense. Golden State, they were bricking a lot of shots. Yeah, us too. So what I'm telling you is, if the Denver Nuggets postseason numbers show you that they're the best overall offensive team, that's because they played two of the worst defenses the playoffs has had to offer. And if the Lakers are the number one best defensive team in the entire playoffs, then you got to look at who we shut down and consider the fact that they are two of the best offenses. So, Denver is about to be shell-shocked by what it is that we're going to bring to the table if we play up to our capability. Now, if we play down, then of course, we can lose. We can lose anybody. And I always tell us that. But when you're considering who Denver is, this is the same thing I said about going into the Golden State Warriors series. Only it's an inverted thought because it was like, I was trying to ignore it. In this situation, I'm trying to ignore it too, but it's more so necessary to bring it up. We have dominated against the Denver Nuggets core. Since we've had AD and Bron, we usually beat them. Now, granted, they've had issues with injuries. Jamal Murray wasn't healthy. Porter hasn't been healthy. Their entire careers until basically now have they all been together, ready to rock. Even in the bubble, I don't think those guys were 100% healthy. So that matters a lot. It matters a whole lot. And I want to take that into account as we go into this series. But at the end of the day, we've had great success against them when we have our guys 100% healthy. Like it's Jokic and AD, if you look at the matchups, Jokic is not usually able to get off what he usually does against AD. Now, does that have to carry over? No, eventually Jokic may get over the hump somehow. But as far as I can tell, there's a big part of their history that's being negated in regards to this conversation. I think it's deliberate. No one's talking about two things. How Anthony Davis and Jokic have done against one another over the last several years, and how well that went in Anthony's favor, and the fact that the Denver Nuggets have zero answer for Anthony Davis. Everybody want to talk about how Anthony Davis is going to guard Jokic as if Anthony Davis ain't the best defensive player in the league. But nobody's acting like Jokic is supposed to be guarding AD. When we know damn well AD is capable of scoring 60 points. So it's just like, if the American public ain't wise enough to see how they're being swayed a certain way in regards to this series, they're going to be caught off guard. The Lakers are a fantastic defensive team. The Denver Nuggets do not play any defense at all. The Denver Nuggets are a fantastic offensive team. But how can they be fantastic against the best defense in the league? Who's not deficient offensively enough for them not playing defense to work out for them? That formula right there should tell you what you should expect if these two teams play the way they're supposed to play. Now, a lot of things can go wrong with, obviously injuries could affect things. Foul trouble and referee malarkey can obviously affect things, and we expect it to. But if you just take these two teams in a gym, put them in a gym somewhere, and have everything on the up and up with the referees, you expect to see certain things on paper. As I always say, if it looks a certain way on paper, chances are that's what you're going to see on the floor. What this looks on paper to me, forget what everybody else is talking about, just in my own studying, is that the Denver Nuggets play one side of the ball, the Lakers play two sides of the ball. So, basketball has to be played on both sides of the floor. So unless their offense can overcome both the Lakers' fantastic defense and really good offense, which this is, then they're only going to be able to do one thing that they need to be able to do two things at. So, I don't know what else there is to say. The Denver Nuggets need to get stops. It's not about how the Lakers stop the Denver Nuggets, because the Lakers are going to score on the Denver Nuggets. How the hell are the Denver Nuggets going to stop the Lakers? That's the equation of the series. But the analysts aren't going to tell you that, because that doesn't fit the anti-LeBron, anti-Laker narrative at all. And that's what this is all about. That's what it's always all about. And Jokic is in place as well, and that could sway certain things in regards to narratives. Maybe they want him to be a superstar champion now. After getting 2 MVPs, it's time for him to get a ring. But unfortunately, unless they do some malarkey with the refereeing and all this, the two teams ain't going to allow for that. The Lakers team is going to beat the Denver team. Jokic is just a fantastic player on the floor. That's not going to determine what you're seeing there. His team, the other pieces, they got to do other things around him in order to make him a victor. And that's what we're going to see. That's exactly what you're going to see. Now, what the analysts are telling you, I don't know. But in my mind, I don't know how the Denver Nuggets are going to win even one game against the Lakers if the Lakers play the way they're supposed to play. One game. Because at the end of the day, they need the Lakers to remove Anthony Davis off the floor, in my humble opinion, so that Jokic can do all the wonderful stuff offensively he's going to do. And if for any reason he gets removed from the floor, his team can't stop Anthony Davis with the size that they're going to put on the floor. They ain't going to be able to guard us with the stuff that they're putting on the floor anyway, because they don't guard at all. So it's like they're not going to be able to run their offense, is basically what I'm trying to say. You remove Jokic from the floor and their functionality goes in different directions. You're asking other people to do other things. You're asking who to come in and rebound over AD. I don't know. So this is when it becomes a situation where they're just as fragile in regards to losing their big man as we are. Only I think we actually function a little better without ours, based on the fact that we can to score if for some reason defense isn't working out for us. They can't audible into any defense at all. So that's really what it comes down to. At the very least, we know we can play some defense without Anthony Davis on the floor. We know that. With Vanderbilt, Schroeder, Bamba's length, Wenyen Gabriel, we know our guys can play some defense. Austin Reeves has been able to close out possessions and defensively. Rui Hachimura is a fantastic on-ball defender, which the Denver Nuggets are going to find out very soon. If the Lakers aren't bashful in playing him, which we shouldn't be, not in this series. We got guys that are going to play defense. D'Angelo Russell contributes to defensive plays every night, even though you don't consider him a defensive player. You look at his defensive stats, he's contributing every night. So, again, if the Denver Nuggets, and I believe Bruce Brown and KCP are fantastic defensive players. Gordon, they play defense as individuals. But if they can't find a way to stop our offense, with Anthony Davis and LeBron James and Schroeder and those guys driving to the rim, D'Lo and his three-point shooting, and Austin Reeves and his three-point plays and three-point shooting, if they can't find a way to slow that down, Lonnie Walker, Rui Hachimura, it's a lot of offensive talent coming at them. People are underestimating just exactly how talented the Lakers are when assessing these Denver Nuggets and the offense that they're going to be throwing at them, at the Lakers. Yeah, the Denver Nuggets offense is awesome, but the Lakers offense isn't trashed. It's not like we're struggling to put points on the board. We really can score when we are doing what we're supposed to do. We're not the best offensive team in the league. That's not our super strength, but we can score 125, 127 points if we need to. We've done it. We've done it more than once in these playoffs. So I don't look at us as an offensively deficient team. And so that's what you're hoping you run into when you see the best offensive team in the league, is that they would be somewhat scoring deficient. And unfortunately, we are not. And so that's what it really comes down to. If the Lakers play the way they're supposed to play, I tell you, the only time I ever complain about the Lakers is when they go small and make themselves a deficient offensive rebound and a defensive rebounding team, and then make it from there a team that can't rim protect it all, so it ends up being a layup line against us. When that happens, yeah, we can get beat by the Nuggets, we can get beat by the Rockets, we can get beat by the Jazz, anybody else. And usually do when we do that. That's how we lose, though. Any other time, we don't usually lose when we're intent on winning and when we're playing with the size that we're supposed to, running our talent on the floor. This season, we outclass everybody, all of them. Like all of them this year. It's only when we choose to suck that we do. So it's like the Denver Nuggets have not posed any threat in my mind's eye with what it is that they're coming up against us with, that we haven't already seen with the Memphis Grizzlies or the Golden State Warriors. I really don't think so, man. As good as Denver's supposed to be, I don't believe that they're better than those teams in the playoffs. Now, granted, Memphis, yeah, maybe Memphis, because Memphis had a lot of their pieces missing, so I will recant that. But the Golden State Warriors, no. The Golden State Warriors hiked their game up significantly in the playoffs. They weren't the same team in the regular season as they were in the playoffs. They went up against us with some hellacious plays they were running. Ferocious defense. Steph Curry was phenomenal throughout, missing threes, but everything else, he was absolutely amazing. And they beat us with them adjustments. We made the adjustments and we destroyed them. Where is that test for Denver? They went into Phoenix, got mollywopped by a team that only used 2 guys. Rather easily, too, because they were leaving them open for jumpers, fouling them unnecessarily, just like I expect them to do to us, leaving wide open layups, just like I expect for them to do with us. And so I'm like, man, Phoenix took 2 games from these guys, and they're not even good. Phoenix ain't a good team, y'all. Minnesota took 2 games from them guys, and they ain't even good. So why am I afraid of Denver? If those dudes who don't play no defense took 2 games from them, how am I supposed to convince myself to be afraid of a team like that, LA? So this is the problem I'm running into, and I hope, like I always say, I hope that my team isn't struggling with this like I am. Because if we are, it probably will get us beaten, which is why I've been fighting with it, which is why the content has been this way. But I'm telling y'all, man, Denver scares me about as much as Minnesota did in the play-in tournament game. They just don't. They just don't, man. Jokic is he is a fearful player. He's not the assessment of this. If he was on a team next to so-and-so and so-and-so, and I thought that team was really, really talented and super good, I'd say, yo, Joker's on the team, man. We out of here. We're in trouble. This is not that. They need more defensive front court help for Jokic. Someone in Gordon's spot that's probably going to block 3 or 4 shots a game. If they had that player, yeah, we'd be talking about something. Because that's really, I think, what they're missing is somebody who can take the pressure off of him to rim protect and otherwise foul people. He needs somebody else on AD. You know what I'm saying? Have AD on him, but when it goes back down to the other side, that should be Robert Williams. That should be, you know what I'm saying? Somebody like that. Somebody like, I don't know who the hell it would be. Evan Mobley, somebody like that. To check the big guy on the other team so that you don't have to worry about him getting in foul trouble and taking his offense with you. Especially when you know he's not that good defensively to begin with. So if you're not constructing your team to have that piece in place, when you get to this series, that's when you get beat. Because you're going to run into that big man that he can't afford to foul. He's going to foul him and get removed from the series or the game. And then as a result, it's going to be floodgates open because the rest of the team doesn't play any defense or function properly without him. So it's impossible. It's literally impossible if the Lakers are attacking him properly and getting him in that foul trouble, which he's inevitably going to get into. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like they got to try to hide him defensively, and if they do, who the hell they putting on AD? Nah, it don't work. It don't work. And so that's why I'm telling you guys, like schematically, it doesn't work. Now they can tell you whatever they want to tell you. It's go 6, 7, 8 games. It ain't gonna go 6, 7 games if the Lakers don't do something to balance that out for Jokic so that he don't have to worry about guarding AD. AD had to be removed from the series, basically, is what I'm saying to you. You know what I mean? So that's what it comes down to. Even if AD's giving us 15 points, if he's giving us the 20 rebounds, and he's getting the stops on this team necessary, we're still going to score enough points with other people unless we do something to counterproductively throw the game away, like shoot a bunch of threes with LeBron James or D'Lo, turn the ball over 5 times. You know, different stuff that the Lakers tend to do when they're flawed in their play. So that's really what it comes down to. Guys got to react well to the altitude. That's obviously a big part of this series. You know, particularly if we are able to have a game tonight where Jamal Murray's either not out there or lesser than 100%. This is the game you win. You got to take game 1. If you're going to win one on the road, you definitely want this one where their second best player might not be 100%. So this is what I want the Lakers to do. Punch them in the mouth. Because we know they're not ready for our intensity. We know that because we've played 2 teams that have brought a certain level to the equation that we don't have to simulate a certain intensity at this point. If we just play the way we played against the Golden State Warriors, we're bringing something to them that they ain't seen coming at them. That's basically what it is. But if we come into it lax, pacing ourselves, and we let them get out to an early run and let them get that confidence going, yeah, they're a very good team. They're gonna find ways to put the ball in the hoop and finishing you off. So don't let my skepticism about who they are take away from the 53 wins that they accumulated throughout the course of the season. They only lost 28 games or 29 games, whatever it was. So it's like I try to apply some respect to this team as it pertains to who they are versus the rest of the field and say, yes, the rest of the field should fear Jokic this way. We just happen to be the team that I think is structured the right way to go up against him, and I don't think that's being acknowledged enough by those who are assessing this series. That's the exact thought. So that's pretty much where I'm at with it, man. I just want to come back and say that. Obviously, the game starts at 5:30. We're about 6 hours and a half away from that, so not close. Hopefully, our guys are having a good morning. Everybody's probably getting a practice in right now, if I'm guessing, but who knows. But hopefully, we're reacting well to the altitude and getting ready for a dog of a series. And we know that the strategy is to get the first game 1 in this building. Get the first one in Ball, preferably 2, but definitely 1. And that way, we could take the onus off of ourselves to ever have to win on the road in this series again, so long as we win every game at home. Now, that rarely holds up. But given the fact that you're on the road to start the series, it's the way to strategize. You got to try to get 1 on the road and then try to get 2 at home. And from there, you're home free, more or less, if the numbers hold up in regards to what often happens. So I don't see no reason why that can't happen. I know Denver's not ready for what we're going to be bringing to the table if we do what we're supposed to do and we come out with intensity. But we do have to understand something. They're a good offensive rebounding team with Nikola Jokic, and we're a crappy defensive rebounding team as it pertains to preventing offensive rebounds from the other team. We gave up so many offensive rebounds in the last series, and I do want to give credit, obviously, to NBA champions over there for having Gafon Looney and guys like that rebounding the ball prolifically. That kind of made it so that it was damn impossible, really, keeping them off of the offensive glass. But nevertheless, we did fail there quite a bit. So if we fail there quite a bit, this team is going to hit those shots that Golden State often missed, as we've already said. So second chance points turn into 3-point buckets. That's how you lose, Lakers. That's how you lose. So we better understand that. If we don't get better at defensive rebounding in this series and keeping those clowns off of the offensive glass, it's going to be to our detriment for sure. So that's what I got to say about that, man. Yeah, respect the shooters. Respect them shooters. If you don't, they're gonna tell you the truth. They're gonna hit a lot of shots in your face. So getting out there and making sure those hands are outstretched is something that's necessary, to say the least. That's what it really comes down to. Whether you over there or not, they probably gonna hit the shot. That's Murray. That's Porter. They probably gonna hit the shot. So you better get out there either way. KCP as well. I'm hoping KCP has an off series because we know he can run hot and cold. We've seen the best of him. We've seen the worst of him. So I'm just hoping he cools off. Seriously cools off. And if he does, that'll play right into our hands very well. And as I always say, man, I'm going to say this from here on out. I developed this in the earlier video. I'm going to say it from here on out. Contain the colors. Contain the colors, because that's all they got on their bench is colors. Brown, and green. Okay? Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, and Christian Brown. Contain the colors. You know? Those that's what you got to do. Contain the colors, and you will have a control over their bench. Oh, and not having more bench points than the Denver Nuggets in each and every night is absolutely and utterly unacceptable. I don't give a damn if we're up by 30 or down by 30. We had better have more bench points than them. With that bench that they have, you better have more bench points than them. So I'm just putting that out there. That will not be acceptable. You allowing that bench to outscore you when they only play 3 players? And ain't none of them scorers like that? Bruce Brown only one scoring. Don't let it happen. Couple Jeff Green 3s and dunks. Christian Brown 3s and dunks. There should never be a reason why they outscore us when we got Rui Hachimura, Lonnie Walker, Dennis Schroeder coming off of our bench. Never should they outscore us. Bench points. So I just want to put that out there and keep that out there. And score as much in the paint as possible, man. They're going to get us. They're going to want us to shoot the 3 ball more than we shoot in the paint, just like everybody else. And we don't need to oblige them, just like we did in everybody else. Not shooting too much is why we're this far. Not shooting too much is why we're this far. Every team we played against had absolutely no 3-point discipline. The Grizzlies, the Warriors, they just jack up 3s to no end with no sense in their minds, and they lost because of it. We kept it under 30 most nights. Even when we shot 20%, we still won. That's going to have how it has to be in this series too, especially against a very efficient offensive team. You can't be throwing away offensive possessions, taking low percentage shots, and missing them. So let's lean into the things that work, man. I've said that over 100 times this season, I'm sure. At this point, we all know what works and what doesn't. We're in the Western Conference Finals. We know what got us here. What put us in positions to not necessarily be successful. We know. We're an expert team at this point. We've gotten further than some of these teams have gotten. Some of these teams have been put together trying this for years and years and years. They ain't never got this far. So I don't want to hear nothing about us not knowing what the hell we're doing just because we have a rookie coach or a couple young players. We didn't accomplish more than half these teams already just by being here. So let's just put that out there. Congratulations to the LA Lakers for being in the Western Conference Finals. Team spent a whole existence never getting to the Western Conference Finals. So let's just call it what it is, man. We're accomplished. We've earned something, and we deserve something. And we're going to continue to earn and deserve something by putting the right effort out there and making sure this team feels us. And make sure all those pundits that keep disrespecting us and our guys, making them feel us too. Make them all look stupid. Because I'm telling you, on paper, that's the way they look anyway. BL44, I thank you all for watching.